Good afternoon. What's going on there, folks? It's the Earthmaster here on this Wednesday, July 20th, 2022 date. About 12:50 p.m. California time here. It's going to be another scorcher, let me tell you. It's supposed to be around 107 degrees for the next 10 days or so. I'm getting tired of this heat. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer wintertime over the summer any day. A 1.6 earthquake here around the Mediterranean looks like on the earthquake 3D globe. Latest quake there popping up. Let's go ahead and take a look around the USGS map here and see what we got going on for activity. This here is the West Coast 1.0, or actually all magnitudes map here from the USGS, showing some scattered activity throughout the western portion of the states here. I want to bring down the all magnitude, or at least a magnitude 2.5 and above, and show you guys there's not a whole lot going on in the southern part of the state, or northern California for that matter. A couple earthquakes here around the Cobb Mountain region of the Clear Lake area. Of course, this is all hydrothermal pumping operations out there in this area of the state, and there's a bunch of them out there. Hydrothermal operations, kind of a big deal, powering quite a few folks there in the Bay Area with some power. While they're taking the sewage and injecting it down below into the area to create some dry steam and harvesting that steam to produce energy. So these earthquakes are very typical around the Cobb Mountain area of Northern California. But obviously, we know this area is thermally active in terms of, volcanic activity down below. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go ahead and scoot down south a little bit. Little cluster of movement around the creeping section here of the San Andreas Fault. Some movement outside of Long Valley supervolcano and the Ridgecrest area. But overall, no major unusual movement that I can take note of here on the map. Getting a little line of activity across the border here, across Mexicali, close to the Tijuana area. But overall, no major seismic swarms here along the Brawley seismic zone, or any fault system for that matter. Looking at Nevada, little activity still increasing out here around the Eureka area. Look at the 7 days all magnitudes here. Shows about 50 earthquakes or so within the vicinity of this region. A lot of these earthquakes are bouncing all over the place from the variable of depths there, 10 to 0 kilometers. So this area, I believe, is in a region that seen a lot of nuclear tests back in the day. I covered this a little bit in more detail in a previous video, quite a few videos back, but it is in that area where they did quite a few nuclear tests out there. But I'm sure a lot of it's got to do with some fault systems as well. There is a numerous amount of unnamed faults throughout Nevada. Looks like it's just off this little fault system here. Kawach Hot Creek Ranges fault zone, looks like. But either way, clusters of quakes out there, very common. It's been that way for quite a while now. Up through the Utah region, things kind of mellowed out. Not a whole lot going on. Little activity throughout the Cedar, Utah region right here. Then again, that's another area of swarming that we've been watching for the past few months here, even extending back into portions of last year. Yellowstone National Park reporting a 1.4 and a 0.8. I'm still watching for the activity that kicked up here over the eastern section of the Yellowstone Park area. Nothing showing up here on the USGS map. Let me pull up the Yellowstone seismograph stations here and kind of show you what I was talking about. It's going to be this earthquake here from last night, about ready to drop off the graph here because of the age of the timestamps. But yeah, there's something that kicked up here. Eastern section of the park looks like maybe between a 2 and a 3.0 magnitude earthquake. Again, somewhat close to this seismograph station. It did show up on numerous other stations across the park, Parker Peak, Pelican Cove, and also even over here along the western section of the Yellowstone supervolcano. You can see it across pretty much all of them. And then again, nothing's really showing up here from the USGS, so I'm not for sure if they're having some issues figuring out exactly where that struck or not. But a lot of times this eastern earthquake activity is questionable in terms of proximity of the exact location of that quake. And I can't remember exactly what his name was. Scientist in charge here at Yellowstone mentioned that sometimes it takes days to figure out an exact location. That's why these quakes over here don't get reported that often, but we notice them, we see them. They're popping up there on the map, and they show up across the area here. As far as local seismic activity, one here around the northwestern corner of the park, it looks like. I believe that's going to be, let's see here, 0.8 at 2301. Let me see here, 0.8 at 230. I don't think it's that one. 2301 is probably going to be this one. So this newer quake hasn't been issued yet in the earthquake catalog map, but it's definitely there. Not a big one, definitely a lot smaller than this questionable one over here that showed up across the area. Getting some type of interference, it looks like, on the map here. It doesn't look like anything that we would want to chat about. It looks like just like some type of local interference. If this was magma movement or some type of underground activity, we wouldn't just be seeing it on one little station. We'd be seeing it across the area, and it wouldn't look like that. Let's go back out of here a little bit and check out the northwest. Still seeing some movement around the Mount St. Helens area. Right there at the summit, the crater area. Let's go ahead and check them out real quick, see what we got for their tremor or their seismograph. By the way, 35 epicenters of tremor along the Cascadia last night. Not a big deal. Volcanic seismicity map here for Mount St. Helens. We'll check this out and see what they got from one of the seismograph stations there that record live data. This here is the September low Mount St. Helens dome station up here. Let's see what we got here. 3-component broadband station. Trying to see here. Earthquakes kind of look like this right here on the graph. A couple of these spikes showing some earthquake activity. Not that big of a deal, just a couple small microquakes it looks like, and also in the previous UTC timestamp as well. This has been ongoing for a little while now, quite a few months, of just some very small microquake activity. And I believe with subsidence of the volcanic area, we looked at the GPS stations there, and it's continuing to show a subsidence there across the area. I'll go ahead and check it out real quick and show you guys here on the GPS map here. Mount St. Helens, right here at the dome. This one goes to, covers this year. Here we go. Pretty good drop off here. Notice that? And these drop offs the subsidence of the vertical uplift can also, obviously cause little small microquakes. Inflation doesn't, it's not always a sign of inflation. It could be deflation in terms of those microquakes popping up. So, and that's what we're looking at here, well into 2022. Continual subsidence there on a downtrend. This has been ongoing here, at least from what I can tell, since the last update here, 2018 to today's time. So, all right, let's move on here past the Mount St. Helens area. Little activity today up around the Mount Vernon area north of there. 2.6 kicking off here at 13 kilometers. As far as the rest of the country goes, not a whole lot going on. Little activity throughout Texas and Oklahoma region. Not a big deal. Some movement around Puerto Rico Trench, it looks like. A couple small microquakes up here, 3.7. I wouldn't call them microquakes, but a couple smaller quakes up here. And typical movement around the southwestern edge. Getting a little activity up here around the San Juan region west of there, with some small quakes at 3.0. Pretty deep movement, and a 2.5. One of those at 74 kilometers down there. Activity along the Middle America Trench continues today as well, off the coast of Nicaragua, and also Guatemala region. Seen a couple earthquakes down there a little bit. 4.5, 4.6 magnitudes. The Alaska region up here, very typical day up there through the Cook Inlet, Anchorage, Denali, all looking very normal, typical day up there in earthquakes, with earthquake activity. Not a whole lot going on here. This activity here from the last night timestamp, 4.5 off the coast of Russia, is the only one here on the western portion of the Pacific Plate. That's about ready to drop off the globe. Philippines did see some movement late last night, but overall, all of this activity is very old and about ready to drop off. New Zealand region looks like about the same. They had one earthquake early this morning of 4.8. This is well north of New Zealand, into the Tonga Trench area, but very shallow. So things still kind of at a standstill for the most part here along the western portion of the plate. Still seeing activity, obviously, along the west coast, Middle America Trench. South America, though, has dropped off pretty dramatically. So sometimes we see these, well, I call them the teeter-totter effects, but right now we're just kind of right there in the middle, kind of where you're, remember as a kid jumping on those things. Those things are fun, but I don't even know if they have them anymore at the playgrounds. Maybe they're too dangerous, but hey, you fall off and you get back on it. At least I did anyway. So right now we're kind of at the middle area here. We're not looking at a whole lot of activity either way. Looking at the Big Island, latest quake here outside of Kilauea, Volcano 2.1. No renewed activity. We are seeing a little cluster of quakes here at Mauna Loa. Largest one looks to be a 2.8. Some of this activity is deep within that region. A lot of times we see some much shallower earthquake activity here at the top of it, but today a couple deeper earthquakes there. No major adjustments going on at the volcanoes currently, but always subject to change, pending all it takes is one good sized earthquake to get things moving over there. Let's see here, what do we got? That's about it as far as earthquake activity goes. One earthquake here in the region of Crete, 4.8. Yellowstone National Park, we already checked that. We'll go ahead and go over to the solar weather department here real quick. See what we got going on for space weather. There's that coronal hole looking ginormous, and that we are expecting a G1 class storm from this solar wind stream. Coronal hole that's been facing us here for a couple days. Looking at the forecast here, July 25th or July 21st and July 22nd, G1 class storms possible. Of course, we've seen this happen before, and it's kind of missed us, but I don't think it's going to miss us here with this type of setup. It looks pretty covered as far as reaching Earth. Solar weather, sunspots and flares. Got a little C flare kicking up here within the last hour or so, peeking out a little bit in the upper C flare category. It is providing a little bit of the radio blackouts here on the D-layer absorption map, but not a big deal. C flares are not that strong, and it looks like the forecast right now looks pretty minimal for anything stronger. 25% chance of an M flare, 5% chance for an X flare. And these sunspots are just kind of looking disorganized and don't pose any significant threat that I can see here currently. This one here might be starting to look a little dynamic here. It is an unnamed sunspot, but we'll watch it, obviously, see how it goes. The current flare, the C flare activity kicking up, looks like it's from, see if we can get this. It's going to work. Where'd it go? It disappeared. Not for sure what's going on, but kind of looks like it's from maybe this area over here, a little far side sunspot, 3056 possibly. But we'll have to see exactly where that's coming from. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here and enjoy the day. It's a little hot, so I'm gonna cool it down the best I can, and be watching the live stream here for a little bit. Hope everyone has a great day out there. Stay safe. We'll chat you guys a little bit later tonight with the update video then. All right, peace out, guys.